Okay, it looks like we are going live, and here at Meat Lake Productions. Hello to everyone, to our first stream. Now, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be playing and going through the lore of Starflight. Now, for those of you that don't know, this was released in 1986, and at the time it was released, it was absolutely amazing just because of the scope and the ability of everything that you are able to do in this game. When this game came out, this is in 1986, and just a few years prior, all of the highest technology for computer games, it was all black and green screens. Okay, I remember being able to play like the Apple IIe in the science classroom of my elementary school. All right, so when you're thinking about what this game means, like visually, it was amazing. First of all, because it was in freaking color. I mean, we're talking about color that's like, a box of 16 crayons as opposed to black and green. When I was playing this when I was playing this video game, it was being played on a Tandy. I honestly don't remember if it was a Tandy 1000 or a Tandy 2000. What I'm looking at right now, this Tandy 1000, this looks really familiar, especially that red button on the left side and these circular holes on the front. Those are like joystick controls, right? And then these two massive things here on the right, in the middle. These are your 5 1/4 floppy disk drives. All right. So when you were playing Starflight, the first thing I want to talk about is the packaging, and I want to talk about the lore, because it was really, really, really in depth. Oh, Jesus Christ. I gotta turn off my fucking... Of course, my air conditioner chooses to start self-cleaning right when I go live. Alright, so Starflight has this amazing packaging. I remember having it's like a folder, and it unfolded almost the size of a vinyl record. All right, so we're talking about a folder about this big, and the cover was beautiful, and then the inside cover, it unfolded and it had several artifacts in here. I'm gonna go through this artwork, and we're just gonna read this because it's important to know how much effort was put into this game. Binary systems, left to right: Greg Johnson, Alec Kursko, Bob Gonzalez, T.C. Lee, and Rod McConnell. These guys are amazing. These are god tier nerds right here. Let's see. So, about our company, we're an association of electronic artists, share a common goal. We want to fulfill the potential of personal computing. That's a tall order, but with enough imagination and enthusiasm, we think there's a good chance for success. Our products like this one are evidence of our intent. If you like a product brochure, please send 50 cents and a self-stamped, self-addressed number 10 envelope to Electronic Arts. And it gave the actual address because this is 1986. Nobody had email. Like, I don't think I had my first email account until it was, good Lord, 1996, 97. I mean, that's when people were most reasonably getting their first email accounts, right? And a lot of it was either government employees or college students. So, then when you further open the packaging, there's an inside cover with 3 panels. It unfolded into 3 panels, and I put together an image here so that you can see this is what the inside cover look like when you open it completely up. It was beautiful. I can't tell you how many times I read everything in this cover when I was a kid. So, first, the dream. Back in 1982, we approached EA, Electronic Arts, with the idea of creating a universe on a disc that would let people experience the feeling of exploring the universe. It was an ambitious idea. We knew it would require a lot of time in the development of some new technology. We were more right than we knew. The cutting room floor. We rewrote the game room script several times as we struggled to achieve our goals. We wanted the universe to convey a gigantic sense of space, complexity, and life. And we wanted an exciting fantasy role-playing game with wide spectrum of character interaction and activity. It seemed like whenever we were close to finalizing the script, we'd find another way to make the game more fun. Yes, they did. Planet Builder. About 9 months after we started the actual programming, we came up with the idea for the fractal generator. A fractal generator so powerful that it could create services in space. It took 6 man-years to create the technology, but it gave us the ability to cram 800 complex and unique planets into each game instead of the 50 we had had before. There are so many that we haven't even explored them all. Obviously, that was 40 years ago, so I'm sure they've explored them all by now. The aliens. To find the right names for each race, we wrote long profiles and the histories for each, then tossed random syllables at each other for several days. To handle their languages, behavior, combat action, we had to devote months in building sophisticated artificial intelligence systems. We threw away the communications module 3 times before we had exactly what we wanted. Sometimes we wondered which would come first, flying to the stars in Starflight or flying to the stars in real life. Breathing ammonia. Once the fractal generator builds a planet, the ecosystem generator creates the environment conditions for it, like gravity, atmosphere, minerals, and temperature. Once we took a journey back to Earth, only to find the ecosystem generator had given it new continents and an ammonia atmosphere. It took 2 years to perfect the technology. 15 man-years later. The last several months were spent tying all the various technologies together. Because the program's complexity and scope, the playtesting alone took months, but all the time and effort was proven worthwhile. We had a vision of what outer space fantasy game could be, and now that vision is reality. Okay, a couple of things about this. This is so amazing because it was 40 years ago. We expect these days to have scripts where, you have backstories of all these characters and races, and we expect that. But this is maybe the first one that I ever played in 1986 where you had lore. Like, this is, any fantasy that we would read today, any books, whether it's something like Game of Thrones or J.R. Tolkien or Star Wars or Star Trek, we expect to have lore and a huge backstory. But this is unheard of for a video game at this time. And when they are talking about the fractal generators and being able to have 800 planets, there's 200 solar systems in this game that you can visit. I still don't think I've been to everyone. Now the fact that, okay, I'm going to pull up the map. This is a map that came with. This is the map that came with the thing. I remember this map. I remember the plastic feel when you unfolded the map, and it has images around the side of it has images around the side of screenshots. Inside these circles are the territories of different races. So this is where we start. It's an easy to remember. All the space is all 2D, right? So we're not doing 3D space. We're doing 2D, which is it's 1986. This is where we start. This is our star called Arth, and it's at 125, I believe, is the. Oh no, wait, that's not it. No, here it is. 125, 100, dead center of the map. So this is where we start out. When you start out, you're right here, and these are all territories of other races. Now, I don't remember 100% of it because I haven't done a playthrough yet, but I do remember this area over here. There's this large circle, this upper right circle here intersecting this smaller circle. The upper right circle is a race of plant people called the Eloan, and then this territory for this other circle is for the Thurin, which are lizard people. Now, you can have both of these races on your crew, but you can't really mix them together very well because these lizard people eat the plant people, and at least they eat their babies, and they're hostile towards each other. So if you have plant people on your crew and then you go to talk to the lizard people, guess what? They're gonna attack you. And then if you have a lizard people on your crew and you go to talk to the plant people, they're not gonna be trustworthy of you. This other, I don't remember. I think this area, there's a small circle here, which I don't remember at the moment off the top of my head what that is. I believe this area here, this larger circle, is the Veloxi, which is an insect-like race. And I believe this larger territory is the... God, Speeman... I can't really remember. We're going to have to play in order for it to come back to me. There's another large circle here, which I don't remember. I don't remember who that is either. But I do remember there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 3 circles on the outer left, and there's 1 circle at the top. You don't want to go into this area of space unless you are completely maxed out on everything on your ship page, as this belongs to the Uhlek. It's written UHLEK. I've never heard it pronounced before other than in my own head, so I'm going to pronounce it Uhlek. These guys have level 7 shields, and they have plasma weapons, which you cannot dodge because they are like heat-seeking. And you have to have some special things on you in order to venture into their territory and try to live. Now, I have another version of this map. This star, you can access this star map in the game too when you are in interstellar space. This version of the map, I don't remember if this came with the map, with the game or not. This looks familiar to me, but this has these red lines here are the important part of this map. These red lines are wormholes. So you go to one part of the map, and then you go to it'll take you out to the end of it'll take you to the other end of the wormhole, and it'll save you a lot of fuel. You have to have fuel in order to go anywhere. This is not Star Trek where you have unlimited, dilithium crystal regeneration like Next Generation. You have to have fuel. Everything takes fuel. Arming your weapons, raising your shields takes fuel. You have to have fuel, and you have to have a lot of it if you have lower class engines. So if you're going to be going far in the game, you want to know where these wormholes are, and you have to have class 5 shields. So I believe Earth, is in this area over here. If I remember correctly. And you can go back there. Let's see. So what we're going to do now is we're going to continue on through here. Other media that came with it, registration, which is hilarious because it's a paper registration, obviously. In the 1980s, nobody was registering things with internet. It specified that you might be playing this on a black and white display. That's an option for the game. Manual. The manual is black and white, and it's the same image as the color. We're actually going to go through part of the manual as part of the beginning of this, and the extras. One extra is this star map, and the other extra is the all-important Interstel security access code wheel. Now, this is hilarious. This is the way that they did they made sure that you are not pirating the game. Whenever you take off, you are given a place, an object, and a race, and you would have to line this up in order to be able to get the right code number. I found a version online where you can print this out, and I recreated it. I haven't glued it onto cardboard yet, but I think I will. So if you're looking at the screen with me now, you can see, for example, if you're given City of Ancients and Shimmering Ball, then you are given the name Thurin. Well, this is the code number you would have to you would have to type in order to launch. Now, it is possible to launch without properly putting in this code. So you can be playing this, if your friend gave you a copy of this, but they didn't give you this wheel back in the 80s, guess what? Who's going to catch you? The actual police in the game will catch you. And when the actual police, if you put in the wrong code, it'll let you leave Starport. But you'll be playing along, and like a month later, guess what? You get pulled over. And you get pulled over by like 10 police ships. The ship looks like a police car. And it initiates a dialogue with you, and it says, you're going to give us a code right now. If you don't give us a code, then we're going to destroy you, or we're going to arrest you. Those are your choices. Your engines are inoperable. You can raise your shields and you can fire, but you can't move. And they have class 75 shields, and there's like 10 of them. And I actually, when I was testing this game to make sure I could get it to work, and I actually forgot about this, and I had typed in the wrong code here, and they pulled me over, and they demolished my ship, and then I gave up, and they're like, okay, do you surrender? And I'm like, yes, okay, good, game over. And that was it. The game was over. Back in the day, that was devastating because there were no backups, right? You can save your game, and the game was saved to a file on your 5 1/4 floppy. You got a floppy disk, and for those young people that don't know what floppy disks look like, here's where they are. I showed this to one of my kids, and my kid's like, "Oh yeah, I saw this before on Clarence, the cartoon Clarence." And so this is 5 1/4 inch floppy disk. These things actually flop around. They're plasticky, rubbery feel on the outside. The area inside this is where you don't want to touch. You don't want to put fingerprints in here. This is where the magnetic data is recorded. And this thing actually spins in the drive. Instead of think of it like a CD, except instead of laser writing, it's using magnetic technology to write the data. Now, this is, if I remember correctly, the Starflight A we would put in the top drive of the computer, and then Starflight B you would put this in the bottom drive of the computer, that Tandy 1000, like this. So you'd have your top, you'd have the two disks in at the same time, and as the game went along, when it was time to quit, you would save your game status, and it would save onto this B disk. So you would save it, and then you would come back. You would always come back to the point. You didn't have multiple saves. And the effect of this is, it's basically like playing Minecraft and hardcore every single time, because if you die during the game just kicks you out, but it doesn't save your progress. So you go to load the game back up, and it says something to the effect of, I don't remember exactly what it says, but it says something like, the game is going on, but you're no longer involved. Like the universe has gone on without you. And as a kid, I was like, that was any video you watch of a hardcore Minecraft player losing and dying in their world that they've spent a year on. That's what it's like. This game has an in-game time frame, and you have about a 10-month time span to figure out how to stop your sun from exploding and killing all life in your solar system. Lots of stars around you are having solar flares destroy all life in the solar system, and if you go back to the map, there's 3 lines here, right? This leftmost line, all of the stars in here, there's no life on any of these stars, because the solar flares have extinguished all life. In this section where our star is, in this section, there's a lot of the stars are about to explode. They are about to have massive solar flares that will wipe out all of life. The part of the mystery of the game is figuring out how to stop this. And then this area over here, no stars are in danger of flaring up, at least not yet. But it's something that's progressing from the core outwards away from the core. And that's the main mystery of the game. The first time I played this game, I remember as a kid, I was just playing along and I didn't realize that there was a mystery, that there was a point to this, because I wasn't really paying attention to all of the notices that you get when you're playing the game in Starport, in the initial startup scene. You're in a starport, and there's a place where you get messages, and I wasn't reading all of them, I guess, because I came back to my planet after the turn of the first game year, and Starport was gone. Like, you could still play the game, but there was no actual point to the game anymore. So I had to restart playing the game again, and this time I had to pay more attention and actually follow the clues. I was just happily just mining things, collecting animals, fighting people. It was just a great time, and I was just building up my bank account, and then suddenly everybody's just gone. So the game does have a point, and there's so much rich lore and everything. We're going to go through some of it right now. Hang on, I'm going to take a look here. So, okay. So right now we're going to look at this is the manual. I don't know if we're going to read all 48 pages. We're going to go through some of it. There's a lot of humor built into this, and it's worth actually listening to. So you'll notice the date. The year is 4619, and so it's 30/10/4619. So that follows the outside the U.S. tradition of day first, then month, and then year. Dear's Starport Central Arth Orbit Station. The planet where you start out is called Arth. Dear Starship Commander, we are sorry you were unable to attend the Operation Starflight briefing last week. Those who attended can vouch for the enthusiasm and excitement that prevailed during the meeting. We at Interstel feel that this is the beginning of a new era, and that you and your colleagues will be instrumental in making this mission a success. To make sure you will have all the information you need, we have included a copy of the briefing of the transcript and your own copy of the technical reference manual. The latter document contains the information you need to operate your starship. Without it, you could find yourself in deep space with no way out. Guard it carefully. Needless to say, it is highly confidential. And if you will excuse the old cliche, for your eyes only. The briefing transcript is intended for the background information it contains. It was decided to provide this information in this form rather than as a summary, to give the absent members a sense of atmosphere that prevailed during the meeting. As you know, Interstel is in no position to outfit starships as fully as you might like. Consequently, a lot hinges on your entrepreneurial ability to generate revenues early on. You will then be able to use those revenues to outfit your starship for more distant and more profitable voyages. The following are a few suggestions in that direction. Your initial allotment of 12,000 MUs, that, if I remember correctly, is monetary units, is enough to allow you to buy 4 cargo pods and to gather and train a crew. Your ship comes equipped with a Class 1 engine and 20 cubic meters of Endurium. That's your fuel, so you won't need to do anything to your starship except name it. We suggest you train your crew with the funds you have remaining after you purchase the cargo pods. You will then be in a good position to mine the minerals found on the planets in our own solar system. Fill the cargo pods with minerals, bring them back to Starport, where you will find willing buyers. We realize that some of you may find this strictly commercial endeavor somewhat degrading, but we have found that it is necessary in order to complete your primary mission. Welcome to real life in the game. Of course, you are free to follow whatever strategy you see fit. Just be aware that Interstel cannot afford to give you a second chance should you fail in your first attempt, and that does happen. No matter what strategy you choose to adopt, it is wise to avoid the following, any of which can spell disaster: running out of fuel, running out of energy in your terrain vehicle when you're on a planet, running out of money, getting killed in combat, landing on a planet with crushing gravity, engine or communication failures, getting killed on planet side by storms or hostile life forms. In addition, we recommend that you check your notices in Starport operations before embarking on a journey. Notices often contain valuable clues and may help you avoid potential disaster. On behalf of all the personnel here at Interstel headquarters, we would like to wish you great success in your mission. May the rock of truth shine brightly upon you. Terrence Willwater, Director of Interstel. Willwater. Haven't heard that name before. Must be an Arth name. Briefing transcript. Okay, I need some water. I may have to take a break. I haven't talked this much straight in quite a while. Briefing transcript. The following is a transcript of a briefing before a group of Starship Commander trainees. This briefing was chaired by Vice Director Fexipotex and included a cross-representation of various races. Fexipotex. Thank you for coming, everyone. Please be seated. You all have been carefully selected for your skills and abilities and your aptitudes in the areas of diplomacy and exploration. We are counting on this driving force to inherit in all of you to help answer the puzzles and riddles that have long plagued scientists. Oops. Okay. While conducting research in the southern hot zone 15 years ago, on the 16th day of 10 month 4604, a team of Interstel scientists found a deep shaft at the crust of the planet, leading to a vast and underground network. Investigation revealed this to have been built by the first colonists of Arth. Please, may I have some quiet? Thank you. I assured you that this conclusion was reached only after many years of careful study. At this point, there is little room for doubt that Arth was in fact colonized by a group called Noah 2, and that this group came from a planet called Earth. Say it with me now, Earth. Foreign planet. I'm sure that you can all appreciate now why this information has not been released to the public. Obviously, it is vital that up-to-date proof be offered when we commence public announcements. Otherwise, the notion that Earth was a real place and that Noah to an actual group would be met with skepticism, to say the least. I realize that the acceptance of a new system of beliefs and new technological concepts is a difficult task. Many of you may still be skeptical, which is perfectly understandable. I ask only that you bear with me for now. After this briefing, you will be seeing some holo footage, which I think will cast any doubts from your mind. And, of course, when you begin your explorations, you will be using the technology yourselves. As you might imagine, this discovery answers a good many questions, but also raises quite a few. There was an old empire and a great interstellar war. From what we have been able to piece together, it appears that during the final stages of the war, when the empire was facing imminent defeat, an ambitious colonization project, Project Noah, was launched by an organization then known as the Institute. For the reasons for the war, for Noah 2's failure to maintain their level of technology, and for the empire's final fate have not yet been determined. We have forever found several references to the Uhelek, Gazertoid, and Phlegmac, and we believe that these to be names of races. Let's see. Which were hostile to the Empire, possibly responsible for its downfall. Further evidence confirms that the theory that humans, Eloin, Thrin, and Velox, referred to then as the Veloxi, were all part of the old Empire and were represented in the Noah 2 group. In addition to the historical data, we have uncovered sufficient technical data to let us reconstruct some of the old Empire technology. The most significant area of this technology has focused on peculiar lumps of crystalline matter which the Empire called Indurium. It was on this substance, unlike any we have ever encountered, that their superphotonic or faster-than-light technology was based. Fortunately, there was enough Indurium in the underground colony to allow us to experiment freely and actually construct a few prototype starships. Yes, We have constructed starships, and superphotonic technology does work. The next phase of our experimentation involves exploration. Our scientists and the public are eager for answers. In front of you each is a captain's technical reference manual. Information relevant to your mission can be found in the main body of the text. All other information allowing for a deeper understanding of those with whom you would deal has been compiled by our researchers and can be found in the appendices. Should you decide to participate in the exploration of the unknown, you'll be given command of a ship and a choice of your crew. In addition, incentives will be paid for discoveries that you make. You may use this money to purchase anything that you desire or to train your crew and modify your ship further. One final note, you are not the first Interstel exploration group. The first group, which consisted of 13 ships and 78 explorers, was dispatched 5 years ago. To date, only 2 of these ships have returned. Wow. And we have had no word as to the status of others because each ship was carrying only enough fuel for a 1-year journey, and we must assume that they will not be returning. Nevertheless, the past 5 years we have made significant advances in starship technology, and you are a much more capable group than the first. We are confident that you will have no major difficulties successfully completing your missions. I would now like to open this briefing to questions. Yes, Navigator SR, Vice Director Fixipotix. You mentioned that 2 ships had returned from earlier explorations. Is there anything that you might be able to tell us of their experiences that would be of interest? Fixipotix. It so happens that one of the captains of those vessels is here among us. Captain Thisterin of the ISS Hyperion. Captain, would you mind standing up and answering this question while I drink some water? Thisterin. Certainly. It is difficult to know where to begin. Our voyage lasted for the better part of 2 years. It happened when we chose initially to travel in a downspin direction with a 14-degree coreward orientation. Our first encounter with alien vessels was just coreward of a G-class system at 150-60. Ooh, we better write that down. 150-60. 64, sorry, 1654. We were surrounded by 3 scout ships of a peculiar design. Upon communications, we astonished that these ships were manned by Eloan. We were even more astounded to find that the Eloan have not outgrown their foolish animosity towards the Thurin, as have the Eloan here on Arth. This was evidenced by the fact that shortly after communications were established, the Eloan sent us a message to the effect that they could detect my presence and that of other Thurin aboard the Hyperion, whereupon they immediately terminated communications and fired on us. Fortunately, I had equipped the Hyperion with adequate weaponry to handle this annoyance. In fact, I consequently found it necessary to destroy quite a number of Eloan ships, purely in self-defense, of course. Most regrettable. Fixipotix. Please, may I have order? I am certain that Captain Thurin resorted to use of force only when absolutely necessary. I am confident that she acted only in good faith and never fired the first shot. Is this not so, Captain? Thurin. Of course, though it was necessary upon certain occasions to Fixipotix. There, you see? Now, please, we have quiet, so the captain can continue her narration. Sounds like politics here on Earth. Thurin. Yes, well, during the second month of our explorations, we altered course and traveled in an outward and downspin direction. It was only a matter of weeks before we encountered our second alien race. These aliens were hardly alien, however. For this, we encountered the Thurin. For this time we had encountered the Thurin. It is a difficult thing to describe how it feels to come face to face with one's own remote ancestors. To feel that one has finally come home after being lost for 1,000 years. After spending the next year and a half among my lost brothers and sisters, it was all I could do to force myself to return here. In fact, both of the other Thurin of my crew, Thisarla and Necrylis chose to stay behind. Whew. Question. Yes, in the back. G694337. I guess this is a android. If I may question to Captain Thrin, what did you do for fuel all this time, Captain? I understand you did not take along to last the entire 2 years. Of course, we did manage to buy a fair bit from Starport by doing some local sector mining before leaving our expedition. During our time in Eloan space, we managed to salvage enough Indurium from the debris of the ships we destroyed in self-defense. We salvaged a considerable amount of plutonium, which the Thrin willingly traded for fuel. Finally, with the help of the Thrin, we managed to locate a few planets with abundant ancient ruins. These we used as refueling bases for local explorations. We have time for one more question. Okay, yes. Garen Leb. A question for you, Vice Director. I wonder if you could explain why it's necessary that we earn the money to build our ship and crew. Surely Interstel has resources to provide us with the best equipment which would optimize our chance for success. Fexipotex. I would like to remind you that Interstel is not a government-controlled organization, nor are we a military operation. Our resources are in fact limited, and we have no way of knowing which few of you possess the necessary qualities to successfully command an interstellar starship. It is not in our best interest to waste what other resources we have on the rest of you, who will, pardon the expression, wash out right away. This, therefore, is our means of determining who among you is the most capable, while at the same time providing a little personal incentive to ensure that we will get the most from every one of you. I wish you all the best of luck in your explorations. Thank you. This is a great bit of writing. It's a lot of fun. The manual goes on to explain in depth gameplay and what they know about a lot of the inner workings. So it gives a rundown of the races and Starport, let's see, space in general, what to expect to planet side. We're going to go through all that a little bit later. So I'm going to wrap this up for this video so I can check it out and see if I've made any mistakes, see how it sounds and looks. So on the next video, we're going to do more of gameplay, and we're going to delve into a little bit more of lore, and we're going to actually go through the process of training and making our first crew. So hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. That's all for now.